He say? He said she had suffered enough. He empathized. He empathized with her. What's the difference between these two circumstances? One woman is a professional and white. The other is a professional and black. Like, working with kids, believe it or not, is a real job. Believe it or not. I know some folks don't believe that. Tracy just sent us a link. Okay, I'll check that out. Dale writes, Nate, don't forget to mention that she didn't forget to stop for donuts for her coworkers, but forgot that her child was still in the car when walking into work. Right. Picked up some donuts, grabbed the donuts, and left the damn child. But yet black people don't value their lives? What? Ed writes, who killed Prince? I knew it was something suspicious about his death. Tracy writes, Nathan, maybe she has postpartum depression. Been there after first delivery. Thank God I never forgot my son in a car. Postpartum depression is real. I agree with you. Perhaps she did. And I won't discount that. She's talking about the woman that left her child in a hall car. I believe her name was Jody Edwards. If I'm wrong about that, then please set me straight. Disabuse me of my folly, as I like to say, because I want to speak correctly. Mike writes, Joe Dieters does not care about the next election. I don't see him charging her, but he'd get reelected anyway. Terrence Wright, Nate, yes, Joe Dieters has done the same thing for years. I'm not Mr. Black versus white, but it's obvious. When they say tough on crime, it means tough on blacks. That's historical. Sustained. Tracy writes, I can't talk about Prince. I am still in shock and disbelief. That's right. Prince was taking opioids. Opioid abuse is huge right now because it doesn't have the stigma of street drugs. Even though you got people who are dealing in opioids on the streets. Yeah. And, I mean, what do you want to do about it? If you get hooked on opioids and now you're to the point where you can't function and you can't find your inner Prince without your opioids, then should the people who you tell to go buy your opioids and your drugs for you, should they be charged? I'm asking you. If you're a Prince fan, I'd like to know. Do you believe that the people who were around Prince, they were running drugs back to him? You know Prince wasn't out here making no damn drug buys. You know Prince himself wasn't out there buying pills. You know that. You know that. He had people around him. That's your job. You get my opioids, get my drugs. Should that person be charged with the death of Prince? Overdose. Not good. I'll be honest with you. Parts of me can understand why some would say yes, but I believe ultimately no. Just like I didn't believe that the doctor who was giving care to Michael Jackson, I don't think he should have been charged. You know, if Prince is listen, and he's instructing you to get this, it's a victimless crime. You are doing this to yourself. You know, just straight up. Nate Ivey with you. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. Now, a podcast will be made available. Typically, it takes about 30 minutes. And what we do in the podcast in some cases is improve the audio a bit, kind of clean a few things up here or there, make sure the levels are right. And then it is uploaded and produced for you as a podcast. It's up on my website, very easy to find. And you can archive back to listen to any of the shows. And I haven't done it recently, gone all the way back, but I may do it over the weekend just to kind of hear the evolution of the sound. And now, you know, big things are happening, quite honestly. With the first sponsor, that means that I can push the project forward in terms of just some upgrades that I want to make to how we sound and to how we look. And again, stay close on my Facebook page. I'll tell you all about it. Nate Ivey with you. I'm live, I'm local, and I'm vocal. This is the Nathan Ivey Show.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape? You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plato and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Now back to the show.
Currently 8:24 a.m. in the Queen City. Broadcasting live from the city of Cincinnati. This is the Nathan Ivey Show, your morning destination for interesting conversation. People, politics, pleasure. That's my lane. And good morning. Tracy writes, I can't talk about Prince. I'm still in shock and disbelief. And yes, I do understand. I read that before. But Prince is in the news. Now we know the exact cause of death. Prince died of an accidental overdose of an opioid, fentanyl. So says the medical examiner. Prince, 57, was found dead back on April 21st in his home in Minnesota. An accidental overdose of fentanyl. Do you know anyone who has any experience with that drug? From what I'm reading, it's 25 to 50 times more potent than heroin and 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. This is according to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. He was found unresponsive in an elevator. Unresponsive in an elevator. Should the individuals who were carrying the drugs back and forth from Mr. Prince, should they be charged with a crime? Or do you believe with me that this is a victimless crime? You're the one on dope, buddy. And I don't mean to be cruel or callous. I'm not trying to come off that way, but this is how I honestly feel. I mean, this is some straight talk for you. I mean, I'm supposed to feel sympathetic because Whitney Houston had a dope problem? No. I mean, she knew it was a problem. She told Oprah crack is whack. I'm supposed to feel upset because Michael Jackson has a dope problem? I mean, it's incredible. On some levels, it's sad, but that's their life. I mean, how do you stop someone? How do you stop someone who you see is in crisis and they've got a chemical addiction? That's got to be deep. And what is it about these extremely creative people and drug abuse? Okay, there's a long list throughout just a recent history, 50, 60 years, of some of the most talented individuals. And I say talented because some of these individuals are musicians, some of them are singers, some of them are comics. They're creative people. They're people that entertain. And they got dope problems. They have dope problems. Is this just what wealthy people do? I mean, they don't have to work every day. So how do you feel this time? Dope. I'm not judging. I'm just trying. I'm struggling to understand. Still taking nominations for your Gilligan of the Week. So far, the mother involved with the gorilla incident has been nominated. The Cincinnati Zoo has been nominated. All of the trolls on social media have been nominated. And we're missing anyone, please? We want to make sure this is an accurate list. Let's have some fun with it. You know, for the first time in many weeks, there's one person whose name hasn't even come up. Remember this guy? AB, about billions. So I thought I'd bring him up. I mean, his name has been in the running almost every single week. Hooray, hooray! There's a week in which Adrian Broner is not on some way nominated to be the Gilligan of the week. I think that's success. I think he's moving in the right direction. Who said he couldn't turn his life around, right? Way to go, AB. Monique writes, exactly, Brian. Let him who is perfect at parenting cast the first stone. That woman was horrified. So what about the parents of people who kill others? Are we going to charge them for not raising their kids right? They can't charge that woman. They can. We all hope that they don't. Dale writes, I think he will charge because it is an election year and to appease his majority vote supporters and to get them back on his side after the Ray Tensing murder charge press conference announcement, which stirred up a lot of police backing citizens. Plus, he takes the fact that the black folks won't come out in great numbers to vote locally, and he's counting on that, yeah? Political apathy is like a religion in some communities in the city of Cincinnati. It's a damn shame. It really is. It's like, I think I'll just stay home. I won't vote today. I'll just stay home. Karamia writes, why is it that most black famous artists like Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jackson, James Cook, Whitney Houston, and others who fight for the rights of their music die from an overdose? It's a good question. Although there's some folks who believe that Jimi Hendrix was killed by, it was organized. It was a conspiracy. It's a good question. It's a real good question. We'll find out when we all make that great transition. Brittany writes, Nate, I don't feel she should be charged. If they can show compassion on a woman killing her child, they should show compassion towards his mom. Pat writes, Dieters could be grandstanding again. We will see. Yes, we will. Jesse writes, what's up, Jesse? Good morning. He writes, the gorilla should get Gilligan too for touching a child. He caused his own death. What? I want to veto that one. Can I get a here, please? Here. Shannon writes, Goldblum. Thank you. I did struggle with that. Goldberg, Bloom, Blurb. Goldblum. Thank you, Shannon. Brittany writes, Nate, did you hear about the Japanese couple, that lady, that 7-year-old in the wilderness for throwing rocks at a zoo? I believe it, people. Then they left him to scare him, knowing that wild animals be in that area. They later went back to get the child, but he had wandered off and was missing for 7 days. Now that's the mother that should be charged. Matter of fact, the dad too, because he was in on it also. I didn't know the details about that case. That's what happened? I did not know the details. Mr. Hollywood writes, but yes, I'm hip to that case. You spent 7 days like wandering around in the woods, right? Way to go. I mean, is that like some kind of rite of passage? You got to go out in the woods and survive, and when you come back, you're a man. That's like straight out of some kind of Hollywood script. Mr. Hollywood writes, I can't believe some people seems like they're caring more for a gorilla than a child. That's the animal lovers. They just, it's just, and you know what? We need those folks. I mean, I might ridicule them and have a little fun with them, but in some cases, I think I might agree with them. I'll tell you who's not an animal lover. People who have dogs in apartments. Those are fake-ass animal lovers. There's a difference between loving an animal and loving having animals. There's a difference. And if you got like an apartment and you got a little dog with you in a damn apartment and you can't walk to any kind of green space, I mean real green space, where he can really run, your dog can really run around, then you're a fake-ass animal lover. That's what I call you. You don't love animals. You love having an animal. It's a big difference there. Brittany writes, the mother will have to replay that over and over in her mind. That's punishment enough to me, Nate. Why break up a family over an accident, in which case the kid lived?